I've been a little tired this weekend, so apologies if I act in a way that's unbecoming. The Blitz was a German bombing campaign against the United Kingdom from the 7th of September 1940 to the 11th of May 1941, for a little more than 8 months during the Second World War. The Germans conducted mass air attacks against industrial targets, towns, and cities, beginning with raids on London towards the end of the Battle of Britain in 1940. A battle for daylight air superiority between the Luftwaffe and the Royal Air Force over the United Kingdom. The Luftwaffe being the name of the Nazi Air Force during World War II, for those of you who did not know. I certainly did not before researching this event. It started with a brutal bombing of London in September, in which the city was systematically assailed for 56 of the 57 following days and nights. The Luftwaffe gradually decreased daylight operations in favor of night attacks to evade disruptions by the RAF, and the Blitz became a night bombing campaign after October. More than 40,000 civilians were killed by Luftwaffe bombing during the war, almost half of them in the capital, where more than 1 million houses were destroyed or damaged. The German air offensive failed because the Luftwaffe High Command did not develop a methodical strategy for destroying British war industry. Poor intelligence about British industry and economic efficiency led them to concentrating on tactics rather than strategy. The bombing effort was diluted by attacks against several sets of industries instead of constant pressure on the most vital. Now to the review, but before that, let me get to the drink I'm drinking so that I can talk in front of a camera. The drink this week is Kevin Durant Prime Juice. The British may have won by surviving the Blitz in World War II, but what they did not do was win a gold medal at the Olympics in basketball this year. Who did that? It was Kevin Durant, baby. He was great, and I'm not usually a big Prime guy, but then I saw it was Kevin Durant, and I have to say I like Kevin Durant, so I bought it, and now I will try it. It tastes like sugary candy. In World War II London, 9-year-old George is evacuated to the countryside by his mother, Rita, to escape the bombings. Defiant and determined to return to his family, George embarks on a journey back from home as Rita searches for him. This film has a lot of good elements, but nothing about it makes me passionate about its execution. The story, in my opinion, centers 3 parts: the 2 main characters and the highlighting of intersectionality during the Great War sequel. While these parts were well executed in certain moments, they were shallow and often more one-dimensional than I was looking for. Wow. Wow. Starting with probably my favorite working actress, Saoirse Ronan. She's wonderful at playing a quiet, determined strength. She has a serious intellect and a fire about her that makes her seem more passionate than her contemporaries. She's also Irish, so that's a plus. But to be completely honest, I don't think this was one of her best roles, and I think the character they gave her was a part of that. With a few small exceptions, her role can be basically whittled down to her fear for her child. She's brilliant at executing anxiety, but as the film drags on, it becomes abundantly clear that that's all she has to execute. A certain scene with her singing I can tell is supposed to be a powerful moment in the film, but based on the fundamental nature of her character, she has a difficult time exercising it. It reminds me of a wonderful scene in Steve McQueen's first movie, Shame, although it's a shame that I have to compare the two because that one was so much better. The child character to me could have been a little stronger with a little less story focus and a little less reactionary presence. He's an example of a character I rarely appreciate, in which his entire role is to react to all of the chaos around him instead of focusing on his specific mental turmoil. Because all of his time is spent on counteraction, it doesn't give as much time to develop his growth. I think in essence the story is trying to show the psychological effects that come from war, but every war movie does that, quite frankly, and if you're going to do something, you have to go bold and bloody, or you have to show it in a different direction that makes it interesting. I thought the child actor was alright, but just like Ronan, by the nature of his character, there's only so much he can be. And I see the delve into intersectionality the same way that I see these characters. Juice! Ugh, it tastes like Smarties. But like, you just took water and you ground up Smarties and you just put them in there. It's a good start, but I wish they went a little deeper, a little further in that direction. What I took from the film is that racism can be bad, and it can be isolating, and women deserve just as many jobs in the workplace as men do. I mean, that's a great start, but it's a general statement to make that every sane person tends to agree with. There's no thoughtful examination of the racial tension at the time, and it doesn't come back around to the world we live in today, other than the cynical thought that we're regressing back to basics. Maybe a more thorough examination of the relationship between Ronan's character and her husband would have expanded the conflict and maybe given the film a little more heart. Yum yum, I believe that. No, I don't. Now, despite all of these statements, there really is some good in this film. The bombings, especially in the first two acts, were used sparingly and gave the film an added layer of tension. I appreciate the decision to focus more on the family life rather than the actual conflicts because it gave great context into the interactions that we're dealing with. The framing of these interactions allows the character's emotions to grow and grow until it becomes something greater than what we would feel otherwise. Steve McQueen's direction, though, I feel like he's lost a little of his authorial intent. I saw a random IMDb comment that said his direction was akin to Steven Spielberg, and I have to say that I agree. The direction is kind of discount Spielberg late 2010s. The lighting was a little too dark, the framing was regular, and I don't think they took blocking into much consideration at all. Those little details are what make cinema to me, so when they're avoided, it's harder for me to get into the film. Like I said, a mixed bag isn't all bad, but I don't think this film left a serious impression on me. The themes are great, and I want to see more films about this subject matter, but I wish it went deeper into the issues. I'm a huge fan of Saoirse Ronan, and I have liked Steve McQueen's works in the past, so I hope their next project leaves a greater impression on me. I'll give this film a crush, and that's enough for me. I'm done talking, and so I can go back to editing and in my quiet space where I can be like a bat and hang upside down and not talk to anybody. And so that's all I like to do in my spare time. What do you like to do in yours? Please tell me, and I will respond back to you. No matter what, I will respond back to you, for sure. And this is my juice, which I will drink now, and so goodbye.
Well, you have no medical condition, but if we take you out to society, you're going to get cocaine and kill someone. So,
Okay.
what do we do with you?
Yeah, is she treating people?